Hello, my dear ones. It's always a great pleasure to sit down and communicate and talk with you. I just met a whole bunch of new YouTubers in the office there. So much fun. The class is always fun. The energies are so much fun. It's just so much fun to feel good and be healthy. I just love it all. We're going to do a video on skin. I'm going to start doing videos, Q&As too, but I know you're all requesting videos on particular conditions. I tried to do that earlier on, and I'm going to do them again for you. And so we'll do the first one here on skin, but I do have some updates. I always like to bring some updates. The one on skin, and listen, I want to thank you, Rick. This is from Rick. And I have to say that we've seen this, but this is, I just love this because it shows you what's coming. They'll have to, this is from Discovery Channel, rewrite the textbooks. Now, this is all about the new glymphatic and lymphatic systems that they found, and Discovery is on point. They'll have to rewrite the books because now it's bringing out stuff that they just didn't know existed. Matter of fact, one physician here alludes to the fact that we're finding tissue. They thought they had found all the tissue. It's a stunning discovery that overturns decades of textbook teaching. Researchers at the School of Medicine have determined that the brain is directly connected to the immune system by vessels previously thought not to exist. Well, the immune system. Now think about that. Your immune system could also be and would also be what? The body sewer system. And the body sewer system, see, you can't expect the blood to maintain its pH and to handle all the acids of the body and to handle the immune responses and to handle everything. That's crazy. So, this, you never know. Some of the narcissistic medical people are going to have a hard time changing with this one. But for those that want to change, I've been teaching the lymphatic system for 45 years, and they still haven't found any of it. They just found a little part of it in the brain. How about the bottom triangle? It's a triangle that connects to the kidneys. There's a lot they haven't found. And they're still going to be going down that road. Well, let's hope that they can put it in its proper perspective, because one of the problems is the way they look at things. They already set themselves up at predetermining what they're looking at. They've already, in science, has already predetermined what it's viewing, basically. So there is no science anymore, but this is good stuff. I just love this stuff. And of course, I think they're talking about the glymphatic. Of course, there was the University of Virginia that found the lymphatic system. And how many more exist out there? There's so much of the body. I really did not believe there were structures in the body that we were not aware of. I thought the body was mapped, said Jonathan Kipnis, a professor in the Department of Neuroscience and director of the University Center for Brain Immunology. How these vessels could have escaped detection when the lymphatic system has been so thoroughly mapped throughout the body is surprising on its own. What's surprising on its own that this guy actually thinks the lymphatic system has been fully mapped out in the body. It hasn't even scratched the surface of the lymph system. And on top of it, they don't even know what it's there for. They want to hook it to the immune system again. This ought to even help the Society of Lymphologists. Hopefully, with our awareness, they'll grow up even more understanding the role of kidneys, the role of cellular acids, the fact that we're dealing with acidosis, not alkalosis. Just on and on and on about the truth of how things are. And so you guys are just way ahead of your time. Look at this. It says, now, but the true significance of the discovery lies in its ramifications for the study and treatment of neurological diseases ranging from autism to Alzheimer's disease to multiple sclerosis. Kipnis said researchers no longer need to ask questions such as, how do we study the immune response of the brain? Or why do multiple sclerosis patients have immune system attacks? You know what, you really didn't even need to wait till a discovery. If you just pull back in consciousness, it would have told you anyway. That's how I discovered it. See, because the brain is like every other tissue connected to the peripheral immune system, through meningeal lymphatic vessels. Kipnis said, we believe that for every neurological disease that has an immune component to it. These guys, again, they're going to take a find of the century and they're going to rub it in the dirt for a while and still waddle there with it. This is the doorway of all cancers, of all their diseases. It is not neurological. This is their understanding of all their symptomology called diseases, because very, very few of them are blood caused. Most of the blood conditions are caused by the lymph system. So this is I was hoping this would make a big, big change within the medical community. It won't make enough because they still don't have the view. And you got to break loose. And there's major changes. They need to rewrite medical books. But how can you rewrite a medical book until you know the whole picture? But you're going to see them start adding this lymph system in. So what I'm saying about academics, half-truths, 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 consciousness, the full truth. So that's why you keep pulling back, because the answers will come to you. You'll see them. Amazing. And that's the book of life. That's the book written by the book writer. Top of mind, UVA's remarkable brain discovery isn't just big science, it's major news. Scientific American included it in its top 10 science stories of 2015. Well, there's a lot of good science stories, like the discovery that a lot of like type 1s are neurological type 1s. Actually, a lot of conditions could be neurologically involved. And of course, that's going to keep, as you keep rounding the bend, as you keep going around the circle to this, you're going to always come back to the lymphatic system, acidosis, and what that means to fluids, and what that means to cells. And that's it. That's why you don't need to have all these college degrees to do this. We knew a way about this before researchers had to take mice and take their brains and put them on a slide, because this is one reason how they found it. National Institutes of Health featured the finding in its noteworthy advances in basic research. If they only knew. This isn't noteworthy. This is a change of the whole medical thinking, because the lymph system is their world of diseases. Another person said it's a breakthrough of the year, and the Huffington Post named the discovery one of 8 fascinating things we've learned about the mind in 2015. You see, this is the problem. They didn't discover anything about the mind. They discovered the lymphatic system of the brain. Both of them. They didn't discover anything about the mind. You see, this is part of where you get into this medical thinking, that the mind is the brain. And this limits the experience of medical people in life even. And that's why medical doctors, you guys have got to get yourself opened up spiritually, awake, understand, look at how we map the lymphatic system out, how the kidneys and skin are a vital role to this. Because once you get all that, then the pictures are going to start coming. Now you're going to get it. Now you're going to see why there's so many kidney problems. Now you're going to see why when kidneys fail, death occurs. I just said one sentence. They'll have to rewrite the textbooks. There have never been a lymphatic system for the central nervous system. There's a lymphatic system for every cell in the human body. And it was very clear from the first singular observation, and they've done many studies since then to booster the findings. Exciting stuff. They put a mouse's meanings, the brain, the membrane of the brain over a slide and all that. How they look, yeah, you nasty. All right, now get this. I love this one. And it's important for all of you guys, and you already get it because we've talked about it before, but get this. The unexpected presence of the lymphatic vessels raises a tremendous number of questions. Oh, really? I bet it does for them. That now need answers. Well, they just need to find one of you guys to help them. Both about the workings of the brain and the diseases that plague it. Remember, diseases is their concept. There's nothing that plagues the brain other than acidosis and genetic weaknesses from that. And that should give them to show that when you don't remove metabolitic wastes, they stay around. And when your metabolitic wastes stay around, that's acidosis because they're acids or proteins. Now, let me go on. For example, take Alzheimer's, not timers, Alzheimer's. In Alzheimer's, there are accumulations of get this. In Alzheimer's, there are accumulations of big protein chunks in the brain. Kipnis said, we think they may be accumulating in the brain because they're not being effectively removed by these vessels. Thank the friggin' God this guy Kipnis can think. Are we kidding? You know, this is called amyloid plaque. You've got a combination of proteins, acids, and immune responses. So more people want to have more proteins in their diet, and yet it's protein that's the biggest problem man faces, and it's acidosis. But he's saying it right here. This is from Harvard, somewhere, medical, big time. And it says, for example, take Alzheimer's. In Alzheimer's, there are accumulations of big protein chunks in the brain. Actually, they're attached to cells. These proteins or acids bond to cells. Well, you see that in an acidic environment because you created a cationic environment, which is an environment of coagulation and agglomeration. So things are dehydrating and sticking together and becoming hard. And then the immune response to that, of course, is lipids, because lipids fight acids better than plain electrolytes. And so then comes the lipids. So now you see cholesterol, you see edema coming in because of the acid, so you have osmosis of water. So pretty soon you start seeing things swell. We use the word inflammation, but it's simply the body trying to deal with these proteins because the lymphatic vessels aren't removing them. Okay, so now with Kip just thinking about that, which is important for this medical doctor, sounds like a good medical doctor, he needs to understand now eliminative organs of metabolitic or protein chunks, acid chunks. Where do they go? Can't dump them in the blood, so where do they go? They go around cells. Not when there's the route open, not when the sewer system's working. And that's just what we're talking about. A sewer system that has gone down. And the kidneys and the skin, and I'm building you up for this because our talk today is going to be on the skin. Because we have way too many young people with skin problems, and we all need to know. Even though I've done multiple videos on the skin, we'll do one big video on the skin, and I'll do that after lunch, but I want to build up to that. He noted that the vessels look different with age, so the role they play in aging is another yeah, I mean, you know, that sort of thing. But isn't that pretty cool? That is cool stuff. And thank you so much, Rick, for that information. It's just right. I love Discover Channel because they're right on with so much of their conversations and what they talk about, you know. This is in Science News. This is ribose could have formed in space. They were talking about simple sugars, you know, and I went over and talked about the three basic simple sugars that we talk about in foods: galactose, glucose, and fructose. But there's all kinds of simple sugars. So when someone out there is saying how sugar's bad for you, oh, it just makes things crawl in me, because you have so many simple sugars, and ribose is a simple sugar in RNA complexes, which is part of the DNA, the whole genetic codes and things, and a major role these carbohydrates play, these sugars play in this. You have to understand sugars play a major role in the energeticness. This is carbon. Maybe we should just start using the word carbon instead of sugars, and then we'll use nitrogen instead of proteins. I don't know, but it's enough to say there's all kinds of simple sugars out there. But this was a nice article on ribose, which they have found in ice crystals and meteors. Pretty cool stuff. And they get into the amino acid chains too. It says ribose, instead of forming in space, might have formed as the ingredients were delivered to Earth. And that is true. It is possible. By seeing carbon-13 in the ribose and other sugars, the researchers knew chemical reactions in the ice and not uninvited interpreters, which or things that would affect that. This is NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Researchers have long suspected that sugars could form on intercellular ice, and that underlying chemistry has been understood for 155 years. Cool stuff on the ribose and stuff on that. I always like science and news because it's all kinds of good stuff. And listen, I want to congratulate, here's another, this is Jennifer. She has no more Hashimoto's. She's had it most of her life, and she has no more Hashimoto's left. These are easy things to get rid of, guys. So congratulations, Jennifer. You did right through. You did your thing. You got it done. Keep going. Clean yourself up even deeper. Clean yourself up even deeper. Love you, honey. You did a good job on yourself. No, there's nothing incurable. You know, when you understand what's causing all these things, everything seems pretty simple except the journey to do it, you know, the journey going through it. Someone sent me this, Anton. Anyway, it says it's starting now. It's about the FDA. They're starting to sell GMO salmon. Well, forget about salmon anyway. We don't have to eat meat anyway. So, but they're putting on unlabeled salmon on the market. GMOs, and so there's a big fight right now at the FDA. People are suing the FDA, and they're trying to stop this. You know, it's just this unconsciousness has just got to stop, and the only way to stop it in the future is that all you work on become conscious, because there's just so much of this. I wanted to talk about this too. I made a little note to talk about this, and maybe I don't have hardly any time to do this. When I get back, I want to talk to this. And this is Willie Bill Kerr. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. His birthday is the same birthday mine is. This poor soul, such a great little soul. He says, Gopal Das, he says, we have the same birthday, and I left a message. Yeah. And he says, Gopal Das says the same thing. Learn to die 100 times daily, not once. Gopal Das is a beautiful Ekmaster. He's just a beautiful spiritual master. He looks a little like Jesus, but he's more blonde. More Grecian, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to describe him. Just a beautiful being. Some people see him on the internet, mistake him as Jesus, but he's just a beautiful being. He helps so many people in trauma move from this world to the next. Just a great being. I love that guy. He's all alone, but we are always alone. I live in Texas, and this is true. No matter what, you must understand that you will always be alone, but you're part of everything. You come from the divine, which the divine is everything. And pretty soon, as you start to let go, you'll start feeling you could be a part of that, you could be that, you could be that, you could be whatever you wanted to be. You could feel like you could merge and become that, you could merge and become that. That's about awakening. You could be anything in creation you want. But not to be is better. Not to be involved in being a part of that, but being in creation. I live in Texas on a ranch, but before I lived in Boulder, Colorado, when I was 18, I had a car wreck. My bug, obviously a Volkswagen, I like a guy already, I had bugs too, hit a 3/4 ton truck. My best friend died. I was left with a head injury, and 2 strokes followed that. Woo! Willie, Willie, Willie. Listen, Bill, you suck down the upper circuit, brain, and nerve, okay, man? And do a complete fruits, berries, and melons. Get the kidneys and the adrenals up and slam the upper circuit and brain and nerve, okay, man? Because it'll help you a lot. Dr. Robert Morse said he is right on. I've been a member for 1 year. He know how to fix things with detox. I wish you would follow him. Keep life and health simple. Eat the food you're designed to eat. I love Shania Twain. Shania Twain went to see Dr. Morse. Yeah, she's a good soul. She is good. And yes, Bill, your birthday is the same as mine. Yeah, I take it you like Shania Twain a lot. She is a little cutie. All right, so I have to leave at this moment, but I'm going to come back and we'll continue this discussion, and I want to talk about the skin. And the fact that you all are having so many skin problems, the youth is, and just what that is. Now, most of you know that already because we've had video after video on psoriasis, eczema, acne, and it just doesn't matter the label. So as soon as I get back, we'll continue to go on. Love you all so much, and thank you for spending your precious time listening to this old guy spouting off about health and spirituality. Love you.